Hello teacher, good afternoon. My name is Lady and today I am going to present Unit H, Endangered Language. In these presentations I will explain my ideas of this unit, the new vocabulary, and why I learned about endangered language preservations, and why it is important to protect language around the world. I think this is a very interesting unit because language is an important part of every culture and every community. When a language disappears, people also lose part of their history, traditions, and identity. First, I would like to talk about the my topic of this unit. I endangered language is a language that is a risk of disappearing because forever people speak it. Usually, older people continue speaking the language, but younger generation stop learning it. It is the continues the language might eventually disappear completely. The unit also stresses the Rosetta Stone. The Rosetta Stone it is one of the most famous historic artists because it helped researchers you understand ancient Egyptian reading. Thanks into discovery, many people were able to learn more about ancient civilizations and preserve an important part of human history. This explains show why preserving language is so valuable. Um, Another important idea in this unit is that there are more than 6,000 languages in the world today, but many of them are endangered. Some language have millions of speakers. Child others are spoken by only a few hundred people. When you people start learning their native language, the number of sparrow becomes smaller every year, and eventually the language might disappear. And this unit explain reservoir reason why language is disappearing. Sometimes people move to new place where another language is more common. In other situations, children only learn the dominant language at school because it is necessary for educations, or where a little be little families start using their native language at home, and after some generations, the language is no longer spoken. For this reason, many linguists and communities are working to preserve endangered language. There could be educational programs, write dictionary, records conversations, and teach children their native language. Their goal is to make sure this language continue to be spoken by future generations. Now, I would like to explain some on the new vocabulary from this unit. This will help you understand the topic of endangered language, language preservation. The first word is endangered. Endangered language is a language that many disparate in the future because very few people still speak it. This language need protection so they can continue to exist. Another important word is extinct. An extinct language is a language that no longer has any native speakers. People do not use it in daily life anymore. I thought it might still be studied by historians or linguists. Um, the word dominant describes the language that is used by most people in a country or community. Dominant language is often used in school, business, and government offices because of the Maya language may surely disappear in they are not preserved. Um, Another useful word is language. Language are people who study language. They learning how language develop how people communicate and how endangered language can be protected for future generations. The word preserve means to project or change something so it continue to exist. In this unit, preserving a language means teaching it to children, recording it and recording people to continue speaking it. Um, Another important expression is native language. A native language it is the first language that a person learns how during Shillong it is often connected to a person, family, culture, and tradition. The word generations refers to people who belong to the same age group, so that children, parents, or grandparents passing a language for one generation to another is very important because it is how the language alibi. Um, Another useful word is bilingual. A bilingual person can speak two languages. Being bilingual a great advantage because it is allowed people to communicate with more people shall also preserving their native language. Finally, the verse accurate means to learn or gain something ideas you need sharing acquire language by listening, practicing, and reading and speaking with their families and teachers. Learning a language takes time, but with practice, people become more confident and fluent. After learning this vocabulary, I understood that language are much more one word and grammar. Every language represents the culture, tradition, history, and identity of the people we speak is protecting endangered language when practice an important part of the word cultural heritage. I think this message is very meaningful because every language deserves to be respected and preserved for future generations. Now, I go on to talk about the listening activities. The listening is called language labs. This listening explains why many languages around the world are disparate and why it is important to protect them. Before studying this unit, I can know that many countries have different language, but I do not that some sounds on language are in danger of disappearing. After listening to lessons, I understood that every language is valuable because it is represent the history, tradition, and identity of the people who speak it. Um, One of the main ideas in this listening is that there are more than 6,000 languages in the world today. However, many of them are endangered because fewer people speak them every year. Some languages are spoken by millions of people, while others are spoken by only a few families or small communities. If you people start learning this language, the many disparate completely is the future. The listening also explains the difference between endangered language and extinct language. An endangered language still has a speaker, but the numbers of people who use it become smaller every year. An extinct language is different because no one speaks it as a native language anymore. When a language becomes extinct, an important part of a culture is also lost. Another important point is that language often disappear because a dominant language replaces them. In many countries, children learn to communicate language should because they need you for educations, work, and communications. As a result, they may start speaking their native language at home little by little, we should learn that learning a bit first stressful generations and might later be used to listen to explain the migration of affect language. When families move to another country or another city, they usually need to learn the language that most people spend there over time. Children might use the new language every day and start using their native language. This situation happens in many parts of the world. It is the one on the reasons why language disappear. Another interesting topic is the working language. Listening are people who study language and try to preserve them. They're recording conversations with dictionaries, study grammar, and teach language to younger generations. Their work is very important because it helps practice language before they disappear forever. The listening also makes things that many communities creative programs to reserve their native language. Children learn to speak, read, and write the traditional language while also learning the dominant language used in the country. In this way, they become bilingual and can communicate with more people which loses their cultural identity. I think this is an excellent idea because I allows people to respect it, both their traditions and modern society. Another important message is this listening is that language are closely connected. Every language contains stories, traditions, sounds, customs, and colloquy that have been passed from generations to another. When a language disappears, people also lose many beloved traditions that cannot easily be replaced. The listening teaches you that preserving language is not only the responsibilities of linguists. Families, teachers, schools, every means and communicates can also help. Parents can speak the native language and home school can teach traditional language and communicate, organize cultural activities to encourage young people to continue using their language, small attentions can make a big difference. After studying this listening, I understood that learning more than one language is not a problem. In fact, being bilingual is a big because people can communicate with other childs, also practicing their own culture. We do not have to choose between one language and another. We can learn a language and still preserve our native language. Finally, I think the message of the listening is very meaningful. Language are not only a way to communicate, they are also part of our identity, our culture, and our history. Is the way go on future generations. I know where they come from. We should continue speaking the actions, persevering our language. Every language is valuable, and every language deserves to be practiced. Now, I would like to share my personal opinion about this unit. In my opinion, this was one of the most interesting units because it helped me understand the language are much more than a way to communicate. Every language represents the history, culture, tradition, and identity of the people who speak it. When a language disappears, people also lose stories, customs, songs, and novels that have been shared from one generation to another for many years. One of the ideas that I like it the most is that every language is valuable, no matter how many people speak it. Some languages had millions of speakers, while others are spoken by only a few small or small communities. Even if a language is not widely used, it is still an important part of the culture of the people who speak it. I think a language deserves respect and protection. Another important lesson from this unit is that learning another language does not mean forget it or native language. Today, many people learning English or other international language because they need them for school, work, or travel. I think this use sometimes. And possibly because learning new language gives you more opportunities. However, I also believe that we should continue speaking and preserving our native language because it connects you with our family, our community, and our tradition. The unit also explained that children play a very important role in preserving language. If children learn their native language at home and continue using is the grow up, the language will have a better chance of surviving. Parents, grandparents, teachers in school can work together to teach younger generations is currently to feel proud of their language and culture. I also learned that every women's school in communities help preserve endangered language. They can create education programs, organize cultures, even have public but encourage people to continue speaking their traditional language. Even small attentions like telling a story or living song in the native language can help keep the language alive for future generations. Now, I would like to share my personal experience as a university student. I understand how important languages are. I am studying English because I want to communicate with people from different countries and become a better professional in the future. Learning English has helped me improve my communication skill and understand more about other cultures. At the same time, did you remain my and I should also believe my own language and the cultural diversity that exists in my country. Ecuador is a multicultural and multilingual country. Besides Spanish, there are reserved indigenous languages that are spoken by different communities. I think these languages are an important part of our national heritage and they should continue to be taught and respected. I believe that the bilingual over multiple is a great advantage when people know more than one language they can communicate with different culture, understand new ideas and could be more opportunity for stemless at the same time they can continue practicing their own language and actively in this way learning new language and preserving traditional language can happen together. And as a future English teacher, I think this use is especially meaningful for me. In the future, I would like to encourage my students to learn English with confidence, but I would also remind them to respect the native language and appreciate the cultural diversity of Ecuador. Every language has value and every culture has something important to teach us. I believe that education can help students become more open-minded while respecting their roots. After studying this unit, I realized that preserving language is every young's responsibilities. Linguists, teachers, families, school, every means young people can help practice language by speaking them, teaching them, and sharing them with future generations. Even a small effort can make a feel different when many people work together. To conclude it, I really enjoyed studying Unit 8 because it's a child the language are a very important part of human culture and identity. I learned new vocabulary, improving my listening and speaking skill, and discovered why endangered language should be practiced. This unit reminded me that every language tells a unique story, and every language deserves to be preserved. Thank you very much.